What up, everybody?
What's
Special edition of Gabriel's Take. Gabe's out, so we got my boy Will here filling in.
What's up, world?
So yeah, let's get right to it. Got an interesting slate of topics here for you. Some different things that I don't know. I feel like a lot of people aren't really talking about, but you know they're interesting. So let's get right into it. First off, we're gonna start with our list of top 5 players under 25 years old. So, if you read, magazines like Forbes or Money Magazine and things like that, you'll see a lot of publications where they talk about top 30 under 30 for entrepreneurs, things of that nature. This is about a 30-minute podcast, so we don't have time to do 30 people, so we just decided that top 5 under 25 sounded good, so we're going to go with that. So, with that introduction, let's hear your list, Will.
All right, so top 5 under 25. At number 5, I got Andrew Wiggins. I had to include a rookie.
Oh,
I had to include
interesting pick.
I had to include a current rookie in this past year's draft class. Obviously, Wiggins is killing it with Jabari Parker out with the ACL injury.
Definitely rookie of the year, right?
Definitely, without question. I don't even know who would be runner up at this point.
That's a great question. I have no idea.
No clue. Wiggins with the most 20 and 30-point games out of any rookie this year, by and large, killing it. Begs the question, should the Cavs have kept him and not pursued Kevin Love, would things be a little bit different?
That was definitely about to be my next question to you. What do you think? Because I don't really think that I don't think that the options for Minnesota were that great, right? So you could potentially get Wiggins, who was supposed to be the best player coming out of high school, arguably, since LeBron. I think you would have waited for that offer. So I think that deal still could have been on the table.
I think that the Cavs made the right choice at the time for the player that they wanted.
That's true.
The player that they wanted, they went and got, which was Kevin Love. They had no ideas what Wiggins was going to be. And I think that with keeping Wiggins would have altered the starting lineup a bit. And now that we had to do even more player shuffling, bringing in Shumpert, Smith, and Timofey Mozgov, one of my personal favorites in that trade.
Maserati.
Timofey. But I think that he might have went that way as an asset. So I think the right thing was done. He's flourishing in Minnesota. They're interesting to watch on League Pass. So number 4 I have is Damian Lillard. Obviously, video game Dame, the best NBA rapper, killing it right now.
Bars.
Playing very well and playing with that chip on his shoulder. It almost seems like Lillard gets zero respect. He got left off the All-Star team this year. He got left off of Team USA. He almost gets like barely any mention when you think about top young point guards in the game. But I think he'd rather have it that way, and he definitely plays with that edge. Where Lillard kind of needs to step up in my mind is that he has to get better at picking his spots. He falls in love with the jump shot a lot, and then when it doesn't fall, he won't get back on defense.
Yeah.
So my number 3 pick is Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Greek freak. I mean, this dude's potential, his ceiling, is like a Gothic church. It is literally as high.
Reference.
It is literally as high as it can possibly get.
Yeah.
A 6'11" guy who can possibly play 2, maybe 3 positions.
Yeah.
Playing in that Jason Kidd flowing open offense, and he's essentially playing off of instinct at this point.
Right.
He doesn't have really a go-to move. He doesn't really have one thing that he does well. He's literally just kind of like it's like that kid in gym class who could probably go out for the team if he really tried.
Right.
But he's a great gym class player, and when you ask him what he's doing afterwards, he's like, I'm just playing.
What is he, like 20?
He's 20.
That's crazy.
20.
That's crazy, man.
So my number 2 player, top 5 under 25, is Anthony Davis. Davis is killing it this year. The brow, which I can't stand. I think the unibrow is terrible. I don't know how many chicks you think
You think he actually make him? He trademarked that. You think he actually makes money off of that?
I think. Well, obviously with the T-shirts that say "Fear the Brow" on it, and then there's probably some kickback from Nike in there. I'm pretty sure he's seeing like $7 a month. I don't really know anybody that's looking for a brow.
Yeah, I don't know anybody that's rocking a Fear the Brow T-shirts or Fear the Brow merchandise.
But
Nobody got time for
Anthony
that.
Davis is another guy with a very high ceiling, a very unique skill set, and I think that where he will get better at and transcend is going to be exactly how New Orleans uses him. Right now, they really kind of don't know how to use him. They
Right.
put him in the pick and roll. They love him in transition. They got a guard that can push it in Drew Holiday. They got wings that can run with him, Gordon, Tyreek Evans. But I don't really think Monty Williams exactly knows how to use him just yet for him to shine.
Let's hit a quick sidebar on that, because while you were speaking, I was thinking about. I think that New Orleans is kind of in the same position that Golden State was in, right? Where you got a coach that he might be well liked by the players. He might be looked at as a player's coach, but at the same time, he's not. He's an A to B coach, right? He's not an A to C coach. He's not going to take you that extra mile where, you see what Golden State did. They bring in Steve Kerr, and now Steph Curry might be the MVP. Klay Thompson is arguably, one of the top 2 shooting guards in the league, where, he gets the most out of everybody on their team, and Monty Williams doesn't do that. So if you bring in another coach, maybe Anthony Davis even blossoms even more. Those other role players, they step up and do some more things. So I think that's a really good point.
I agree with you. I like New Orleans because they got a lot of guys who are really talented.
Right.
And if they can put it all together, they'd be really dangerous. I mean, with Ryan Anderson being a big man that can shoot threes, stretch the floor, Anthony Davis' skill set, Drew Holiday pushing the point. Drew Holiday was an all-star a couple of years ago. Yeah. Eric Gordon when he's healthy, Tyreek Evans, and the other cast of characters that they have. I agree with you. The right coach in that situation can vault them into the top tier of Western Conference.
And even with all of Westbrook's heroics, they're only half a game back of Oklahoma City for the 8th seed.
They are, because somehow, some way, New Orleans knows how to grind it out at the end of games. Yep. They got a point guard that can handle the rock, Drew Holiday, and they know that if they need a quick bucket, they can toss it up to Anthony Davis. So, my number 1 top 5 under 25 player, Uncle Drew, the elder statesman. Get buckets, Kyrie. It's all about buckets, Irving. I mean, I think it goes without saying how good Kyrie has been from about the summer to actually back it up to about the All-Star break last year to this year. All-Star MVP, MVP of the FIBA tournament this past summer. Points have decreased a bit, but production has steadily increased. Ever since the trade, he's been better on defense. He's been better as a point guard in distributing and running the offense. You saw the game, the game LeBron came back, the Boston game, where Kyrie was out and LeBron had to handle the point guard duties. You saw a totally different Cleveland Cavaliers offense. Kyrie Irving is the cog that drives the Cavaliers machine. He's number 1 on my list, not just because I'm a Cavs fan, but because in my mind, he is by and large the best player under 25. I mean, the kid is probably the best layuper in the league. He is virtually unguardable from the point of attack. He's got the quickest crossover. I mean, even just watching the game tonight, he has so many different moves to the bucket. Dipsy-do, finishing under the other side of the rim. I mean, my goodness.
As far as finishers that are not dunkers, or if you just want to say finishers from the point guard position, I think that he can make more difficult shots than any of the point guard can in the league.
I agree. So, all right, Ron, let's hear your top 5.
That's Will's list. I enjoyed Will's list. It was definitely unconventional. I took some more liberties. I took some more, let's say, more commercial players from my list. Basically, I looked at this where if I were running a team, who would I take? And I took it from 25 and under. So if I looked your name up and you were 25, you're still on my list. So let's start. All right, number 5, I got Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving's number 5 on my list for the same reasons you just said. I think Kyrie, like you said, he's one of the best finishers. He's the best finisher at the point guard position, in my opinion. That's not a dunker. Russell Westbrook is probably the best finisher at the point guard position because he can just go in there and he can cram on your whole team.
By and large.
Right.
Close.
So you got that. I mean, Kyrie's averaging 22 points, 5 assists, 3 rebounds a game. Like Will mentioned, excuse me, All-Star Game MVP 2 years ago, and he was a 3-point champion also. He's got that on his resume. And even though the Cavs have not been to the playoffs rather, I just feel like he's the kind of player that steps up in the big game. The game that sticks out to me is a couple years, I can't remember it's 2 or 3 years ago, but OKC came into Cleveland with Durant, with Westbrook, and Kyrie was the best player on the floor, and the Cavs won. So I think this guy's got the clutch gene. I think he's got the big heart. I think he's got enough that he's going to show up in the big game. So Kyrie is number 5 on my list. Number 4.
Oh, before you go any further,
yes.
What you were talking about Kyrie being the best player on the floor, even going back to the Portland game earlier this season, where he dropped 55.
Double nickels.
The double nickel. That game was still close.
Yes.
He was, not only was he by and large the best player on the floor,
yes.
he was outdoing Video Game Dame and LaMarcus Aldridge.
With no LeBron, right? LeBron didn't
with no LeBron.
Yeah,
LeBron was on the mend. He just got back from Miami. You know,
happy he got back on the juice. Oh,
right.
Say that? No,
right.
Never mind.
We're gonna edit that part out. But definitely, when you talk about the clutch gene, that game against OKC and that Portland game will always stick out.
Yeah. Number 4 on my list, I got Boogie Cousins. DeMarcus Cousins, man. DeMarcus is averaging 23 points, 12 rebounds, and 2 blocks per game. He's got a PER of 24 this year. DeMarcus is arguably the toughest guy to handle at the center position with his back to the basket because he can face up. He's got the quickness. He's got enough ball handling. He doesn't have Anthony Davis level handles, but he's got enough ball handling skills where most of the time he can get by a center. Right? He can face you up. He can rip through. He's got the quickness to get to the rim, get a layup, get a dunk. Offensively, he's a problem, man. He's a problem.
He absolutely is. Have you seen like some of the games where he'll grab the rebound and start leading the break?
Yes.
You see when he dunked.
Terrifying.
You see when he dunked on Jay Crowder?
Yes. His soul,
body,
and his ancestors.
Body.
They should have brought a body bag out from under the basket and just zipped him up and carried him away.
He's got a unique skill set and a unique game for a guy that goes about 6'11", 270.
Yes.
One, he doesn't even look 270, and a guy with quick feet like that at 6'11", but he's not really that explosive.
Right.
But he's still athletic.
Yes.
It's almost weird. It's like when he goes up, it almost looks like he's gonna get like blocked by the rim.
Yes.
But then he takes it to he takes it to the extra level and crams it.
Yes.
It's like, oh, well, dang, I didn't see that coming.
I agree with you. So, Boogie Cousins, number 4 on my list. Number 3, Blake Griffin. It seems like Blake's been in the league forever, but he's only 25 years old.
He's only 25 years old. We're in the same graduating class.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm 26, and I can't do anything Blake Griffin can do. So, yeah. Anyways, Blake Griffin this year, he's averaging 22 points, 8 rebounds, and 5 assists. I think that might be the most impressive thing. Blake Griffin is definitely one of, if not the best big man passer in the league. You know, DeAndre Jordan cannot create his own offense by any measure, shape, or form. I saw a statistic today that outside of end of quarter threes, which he's taken 3 of, shot clock, the game clock's running out in the quarter, you just tossed up at the rim. Outside of those kind of shots, DeAndre Jordan has taken 1 shot outside the paint all season.
I believe it.
One.
I'm pretty sure Doc Rivers yelled at him for doing that.
So
what are you doing, DeAndre?
So basically, all his shots are either Chris Paul lobs, Blake Griffin lobs, or Blake Griffin catches, he gets doubled, he finds a nice dish off to DeAndre. So basically, he's responsible for a lot of what DeAndre Jordan is doing. He's the only guy that helps DeAndre get buckets outside of Chris Paul.
Absolutely. Blake also benefits from having shooters on the wing, Matt Barnes, Jamal Crawford, J.J. Redick. So when those inside-outside passes go out, they count as assists because they're knocking those shots down.
Right. So, and people forget, man, like last year, Chris Paul was out for an extended amount of time.
Right, with the shoulder injury.
Yes. Blake Griffin carried that team because they did not miss a beat without Chris Paul, who arguably is the best point guard in the league. And Blake Griffin stepped up, and I want to say he finished top 5 in MVP rating last year, which is obviously a big deal. So, Blake Griffin is a great player, man.
Absolutely. It stinks to see him out with the staph infection in the elbow. I'm not going to lie to you. Whenever the Clippers are doing bad, I don't feel bad because Chris Paul plays like that dirty little dude in the YMCA who's always ducking their shoulder. That point guard that always falls when they go for a layup. I can't stand watching Chris Paul play like that. I want to see Chris Paul play, dishing out assists, play like he normally does. I don't want to see him out there trying to beckon for calls. I don't know if you watched the game on Wednesday when they played. Was it Portland? Did they play Portland?
Yeah.
It was Portland game, and it just looked like they were just out there like trying to bait the refs and the calls.
Yeah. So Blake Griffin, my fellow light-skinned brethren, is coming in at number 3 on my list. Number 2, the beard, James Harden. I got James Harden, who's also 25 years old right now.
Okay.
He's averaging 27 points, 7 assists, and 6 rebounds this year. If I had a vote, I would vote for him for MVP.
I would also vote for him for MVP.
Even though he kicked LeBron in the nuts the other night, and that's not cool, bro.
That's not cool,
man.
Dark-skinned guys, we took an L.
What you doing, man?
We took an L when James Harden kicked LeBron James in the Akron Family Jewels.
Come on, bro. That's not necessary. But outside of that, he's having a great season, man. I think he's the MVP. You take him off that team, they got nothing. They got Josh Smith shooting threes.
Pat Beverly.
You got Pat Beverly, literally the ugliest man in the NBA, doing ugliest man in the NBA things. You got Corey Brewer.
Second ugliest man in the
Yes.
NBA.
And you got Jason, I look like an owl, Jet Terry out there doing this. I don't know what that is. Listen, yes, James Harden.
And they got a dude on their team named Papa Nicolau.
Yes.
What's a Papa Nicolau?
I don't know. It sounds like a drug. It sounds like a great party drug. It would
Papa
get you
Nicolau, I'm sweating.
really turned up in the club, and you'd have a great time. So, yeah, that alone should tell you why James Harden is on this list. And number 1, the brow.
The brow.
Anthony Davis. If I'm looking at this, like I said earlier, if I was picking a player to start a team, man, I would pick Anthony Davis. This guy has 24 points, 10 rebounds, 2 steals, and 3 blocks a game.
Leads the NBA
with
blocks.
a PER of 31.
Number 1 in PER.
A PER
in the league.
of 31.
In the league.
It was crazy, man. He had 39 and 19 or 39 and 13. I don't know. It was crazy.
Yeah.
The other night, the guy's, he's 6'11", he blocks shots, he rebounds, he scores, and he can dribble like a guard. What can you do with this guy?
You can't do anything with that. I'm a big man.
Yes.
I played Division III college basketball.
Yes.
And as a big man, when you're going against a guy who can dribble out of the post or who can pick and pop and dribble out of the post, you're all the way out of your element. And you're relying too much on your help defense. He exposes the mess out of any big that guards him. Obviously, you put a smaller man on him, he's going to shoot right over the top of him. Once he starts developing that consistent mid-range or that consistent extended range jumper, it is over. He's getting he had 28 and 14 tonight. I'm pretty sure he got that off of mostly lobs, transition buckets, and pick and rolls.
The craziest part about it was, like I told you, he's averaging 24 points, 10 rebounds, 2 steals, and 3 blocks. He's only playing 35 minutes a night.
That's amazing.
It's crazy what he's doing right now.
All right, Ronald, next topic.
So, next topic, moving right along. We covered last week, we covered our top guards in the league. So we thought it was only right. With a fellow big man on the pod today, we had to show the bigs some love. So we're going to move right along into our top 3 bigs in the league, in our own opinion. So, Will, let's hear your list.
All right, top 3 bigs. Number 3 is Boogie! DeMarcus Cousins averaging 23 points, 12 rebounds in the game. He's actually number 6 in the league in scoring. You think about that in a guard-driven league where some of the best players are either wing players or scoring guards. A big man who plays back to the basket is number 6 in scoring. I think that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Now, DeMarcus Cousins is 6'11", 270. Normally, a guy that's 270 has his feet in the sand.
Yeah, lumbering.
Right, concrete shoes.
You got combat boots on like Kendrick Perkins.
Word to our homie Kendrick Perkins. He's our homie now. Now he's on the cast.
Yes. What up, Kendrick?
But Boogie is so skilled around the hoop. He's very active as well. He's improved his ball handling and his mid-range jumper. I follow Boogie on Instagram. Definitely has been working on that mid-range jumper and that ball handling. And he's one of those guys that's sneaky quick. Sneaky quick is one of those guys that you kind of size up. You see him before you throw the ball in and you start playing.
Yeah.
And he doesn't look that quick. It's like, no way this guy's going to go past me.
Yeah.
But the fact that he has very quick feet, a very quick lower body for a guy that's that big, and like I said earlier, he's deceptively athletic.
Yes.
Like, he'll go up, and it'll look like he'll probably lay it up, but then all of a sudden he'll hit the second gear and just cram.
On your soul.
And I've always loved Boogie's passion. Even when he was at Kentucky, playing with John Wall and Eric Bledsoe and all of those guys. I always liked the fact that he was passionate, that he did dumb stuff, because doing dumb stuff usually means that you're going to learn from that mistake and it's going to make you a better person, a better leader. You've seen the video of him kicking over the chair, mad in the huddle. I think he's still mad that they fired Mike Malone, and he got along with Mike Malone very well. I mean, they were rolling at the beginning of the season. They started off like 11-2.
Yeah. People were talking about Boogie might finish top 5 MVP at the beginning of the year.
Absolutely. He was averaging about 26 and about 12 or 13.
Yeah, it was crazy.
He got the viral infection. He got sick. And then their owner, who's kind of one of those crazy.
He's crazy.
I never played basketball, but I know what I'm doing type
He's crazy. He's got bread. He don't know what he's doing. But I saw the video when they were talking to Nick Stauskas. He was like, hey, everybody say, Nick, you're awesome on 3. And it's like all them nervous people like, well, I don't want to get fired. Do you want to get fired? I don't want to get fired.
Right.
Nick, you're awesome. Like, that's the worst work environment, bro.
If I was Nick Stauskas on the other end of the phone, I'm looking at the thing like,
right, exactly.
These dudes just drafted me?
Exactly.
Oh, that's a wrap. So, number 2 on my list is the homie L.A., LaMarcus Aldridge out of Portland, averaging 23 and 10. Actually, he's right behind Boogie in scoring.
Yeah.
Number 7. L.A. gets zero love at all. But if you watch the playoffs last year, first round against Houston, you should know and respect LaMarcus Aldridge. Him having them back-to-back 40-point games. I think he had 46 and 18 in the first game, 43 and 8 in game 2.
Yes.
He averaged 29.8 points a game that series alone, which they won.
This is his pot. This is Dwight Howard. He put Dwight Howard in the pot.
Oh man,
Cooked him.
And we all know how that series ended. James Harden not giving over the top of that stagger screen video game day.
That was your man. What was I supposed to do? That wasn't my fault. That was you, right?
For the win. Like, LA is a consistent inside-outside threat. He can kill you from about 20 feet and in.
Absolutely.
And other than Tim Duncan, he owns the left block. Like, he owns it. He gets that ball and he knows exactly what he wants to do with you.
Yes.
You sink off on him, he's gonna pull. He has that high arcing release that you can't block. He can go right or left. He loves that little baby hook shot.
Yes.
And he's not afraid to extend his range.
Yes.
I got it in here as far as threes is concerned. I think he's shooting like 38%.
I was just about to say, he's even shooting threes now, and he's making those.
Probably one of the most dangerous pick and roll players in the league as far as big men. And number one top NBA big man, like Marv said previously in the podcast, I am a prisoner of the moment, and I got to give props to the Brow. Anthony Davis is playing like the best big man in the league. He's not the best, but he is playing like it. 4th in the league in scoring at 23.9 points a game. Like you said, first in PER. And he's led the league in blocks for the last 2 years. Before that, you know who was leading the league in blocks?
No.
Dwight Howard. And we were all we were all fawning over the fact of how Dwight Howard was playing like the best center in the league. Then that whole debacle happened 2 years ago in LA, and I guess the rest is history. But wait till Anthony Davis actually figures it out. He's
almost 21 years old, man.
21 years old.
21.
He's only gonna get stronger. He's only gonna get more skilled inside and outside. His jumper is only gonna get better. This is a kid that had no jumper in college and was a national player of the year off blocking shots and getting rebounds, running and doing stuff. My high school coach, God rest his soul, Bob Watson, he had a great quote about big men. All big men need to do is run straight to the rim and stand up on it. Stand up under it. You will accidentally average double digits. Accidentally. Just by tapping the ball in. Oh, my bad. Oh, that went in?
Yeah. So,
What you got, Ron?
I jump right into my list. Number 3, I got LaMarcus Aldridge. For many of the same reasons that Will stated, this guy's tough, man. He's tough on the block. His mid-range jumper is money, and he's even starting to hit threes now, man. He's averaging 23 and 11 this season, which is crazy. I just watched him last night, man, against what were they playing last night? They were playing Dallas last night.
Dallas,
Yeah, against Dallas. I mean, he's taking you on the block. He's hitting the mid-range. He's hitting threes now.
Yep.
The pick and roll with him and Dame is crazy. I mean, it's just this guy's literally almost unguardable, man. He just scores from all over the place. So I got LaMarcus Aldridge number 3.
One thing though, that team, or at least that team built around him, they benefit from the attention that LaMarcus receives. Wes Matthews, Batum, when
shooters.
He feels like you got shooters.
Yes.
Fun fact. So LaMarcus Aldridge was taken second in the 2006 NBA draft. You know
who was number 1?
You know who's number 1?
Who?
Andrea freaking Bargnani.
Who had that pick?
Toronto. Man, Toronto messed up. How do you not get LA? Bruh. Here, John Wall style.
Bruh.
Toronto messed up. They be the number 1 team in the East right now.
That's like picking that chick that was bad in high school, but like right after high school she let herself go. Then like she had that belly fat, and then she had them love handles. She was like, "No, what was I thinking?"
Right, no, honestly, it's like picking that chick that you were talking to, and you probably had one too many natty lights. Instead of that girl.
I like it. Instead of that girl that you met like during preview when you had with your sound, mind, and body. With the 3.5 GPA and the parents with the bread.
Right. They messed up. All right.
That's hilarious.
Who got
number 2? I got Marcus All. Big Spain.
Great pick.
He was the Defensive Player of the Year last year. This year he's averaging 18 points, 8 rebounds, and 4 assists. He was the Defensive Player of the Year last season. Mm-hmm. So that shows you the impact that he has on the other end. I don't have, obviously in the stats I gave you, you can't see his defensive metrics or whatever, but he's obviously very important to that team. Definitely the most important player on Memphis, which is the number 2 seed in the West right now. I just love his game, man. He can hit the 15-footer, man. He can pass. He's smart. He can score on the block. I mean, he arguably might be the number 1 free agent in the offseason this year coming up. So I got Marcus All number 2, man.
Want to know a fun fact about Marcus All?
What's that?
So I was looking at guys who are making the most money and were drafted the lowest. Marcus All, right now, if you think about top 20 guys salary-wise in the NBA, is number 16 in salary. He's making about $15 million this year. Do you know in 2007 he was a 48th pick?
Really?
48th pick. There's only what? There's only 59 picks? 58
something
picks.
like that.
It's only 58 picks.
Something like that. Between 58 and 60, something 62. Whatever.
Let's go with 60. It's only 60 picks.
Yes.
So a guy that was picked near the bottom
Yeah.
in the second round, traded for his brother,
Yeah.
is now making $15 million a year, top free agent defensive player of the year.
That's crazy, man. That's a great stat. But yeah, Big Spain, I got him in there.
Yes, sir.
He's the key that makes them go. And I got Memphis coming out the West right now. So number 1 on my list,
the brow.
Anthony Davis, man. Like I told you earlier, 24 points, 10 rebounds, 2 steals, 3 blocks, a par of 31. I mean, without the injuries, we'd be talking about this guy arguably to be the MVP this year, man. I mean, those numbers speak for themselves. He's 21 years old. He's not even close to his prime, and this is what he's doing. He's the wave, man. He's the wave. He's the future. He's that new thing coming up. So, yeah, he's number 1 on my list because if I was starting a team, that's my guy.
Absolutely. I think that would be anybody's guy. He is a coach. He is a, excuse the word, kids. He is a coach's wet dream.
Yeah.
A big guy who actively knows what to do defensively, has great defensive instincts, who you can mold offensively, obviously athletic. He really needs to get those shoulder injuries together because he had a shoulder injury last year and he had a shoulder injury before. So I don't think he's far off from shoulder surgery. Back in 2009, I had reconstructive shoulder surgery, arthroscopic, thank goodness, on my rotator cuff and my labrum muscle. Anthony Davis might be headed down the same road, and it might save him some trouble down the road just because that shoulder can become a chronic nagging injury, and we don't want to talk about Ant Davis. What if?
Right, exactly. Especially with the promise that he's shown, and the numbers he's put up so far this year. So, yeah, that's all it is. So, moving right along. Another interesting topic we got for you guys is, we've talked about who we thought was the most valuable player on this podcast. We've also talked about who was the least valuable player. But now we want to talk about who we think is the most underrated player. Guys that, glue guys, right? Guys that make the engine go. Guys that don't get a lot of credit, but without them, these teams wouldn't be where they are. So, once again, Will, let's hear your list.
Thank you, sir. So, MUPs, most underrated players.
MUPs.
Number 3.
Mups.
Number 3, Kyle Lowry.
Okay.
Toronto Raptors.
Okay.
Not only just because this year he earned his first All-Star, game appearance. He started, which I thought was crazy that him and John Wall started over the litany of what I perceive to be better point guards in the East. No shade to Kyrie Irving or Chris Paul. Not Chris Paul, but Derrick Rose. Excuse me. So Kyle Lowry is averaging 18 and 7 assists this year. He's top 10 in assists, and he was probably one of the biggest free agents that signed last year.
Oh, yeah.
LeBron doesn't count because LeBron is his own stratosphere, and it wasn't technically a free agent. I think he made up his mind where he was going.
Yeah.
But the fact that Toronto was able to sign him over teams like Miami was a big difference. Miami signs Kyle Lowry. I bet you LeBron James thinks twice about selling that crib in Miami.
Changes everything.
Definitely. Now, watching Kyle Lowry's game, he definitely plays very under control. He's very sound. I've been following him since he was a star sophomore at Villanova from the Philadelphia area. Actually went to high school in Philadelphia, which is a very interesting stat. But he plays so under control, and he's one of those guys. He gets assists by not caring that he scores. And that's how that whole team works. Nobody on that team cares who scores. Not DeMar DeRozan, James Johnson, Amir Johnson, Jonas Valanciunas, Terrence Ross.
Because Lou Will is scoring. Do you hear me?
Lou Will is
Read
scoring.
between the lines.
He's only got
scoring.
He's only got one chick now.
Does he?
Yeah, you hear it? Him and the blonde girl. He broke up with the blonde girl, so now he's just rocking with Brown. But Brown is bad, and I bet you blonde girl still texting him like, Lou,
she'll be back.
Lou, I gotta come pick up those shorts that I left. You know how it goes.
Yes.
Girl wants to talk, like, can we talk? Everybody knows what talking turns into.
Yeah.
So
I
definitely,
left a banana at your crib. That banana's old, expired. Nobody wants that. Oh, I still need to come get it.
shout out to the Raptors in the 6, man. They're definitely making waves. And Kyle Lowry is the cog that drives that engine. Number 2 on my list, Draymond Green. Despite what his taper fade looks like.
Terrible. Freaking terrible.
Even if you want to call it that. I think it's a disgrace to taper.
Terrible.
It's a disgrace to taper fades to call what he's rocking a taper fade. But this being his 3rd year in the league, he's definitely improved his body and improved his game to fit that Golden State Warriors offense. I like the fact that Draymond spent 4 years under Tom Izzo. I think it speaks volumes for you to be a 4-year player. I don't know if he was a 4-year starter, but be a 4-year player under a coach like Izzo who sent numerous guys to the league at different points in their career. Jason Richardson and Zach Randolph, 1 year. Drew Neitzel.
See your point.
Drew Neitzel, 4 years. Gary Harris, 3 years. I think that speaks volumes to the type of coaching that Tom Izzo does. He's one of my favorite coaches to learn from.
Draymond might get a max contract this year. Like, it's crazy what this guy's turned himself into.
Do you realize that Draymond Green was drafted, where is it at? Here it is. He was drafted 35th.
Wow.
35th in that 2012 draft.
And there's probably 15 guys in the league, 15 guys that got picked in front of him that made no impact.
None whatsoever.
Probably more than that.
Probably the only one I can think of from that draft is Anthony Davis.
Yeah.
Not even Michael Crick. Not even MKG.
MKG.
Not even MKG.
And his broke jump shot.
I never really thought of Draymond Green to be a 3-and-D guy because it's not really what I've seen in Michigan State. I just kind of saw a fat guy who could shoot, rebound, and he was a great leader.
Yeah, he played hard.
He's a great leader. But now look at the guy. He can guard 2s, 3s, 4s. I mean, they list him at what, 6'8", He's probably as tall as me. He's probably about 6'6", maybe
Yeah.
6'5.5".
Yeah.
But I mean, Mark Jackson said that he's worth a max contract, and Steve Kerr must have.
He's gonna get close to it, man.
Steve Kerr must have the juice because he's really put dude in a position to earn that Boogie Cousins, Paul George type of deal where you get that 15 off top from your third year in the league. Not quite Derrick Rose rules max deal, but definitely he's gonna get 15 from somebody.
Absolutely.
And I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't think it's gonna be Golden State.
Yeah.
And my number one most underrated player is the one man you don't want to see in the back alley, my fellow dark-skinned brother, Zebo, Zach Randolph, baby. I love Zebo's game because it's kind of like my game now. When Zach Randolph jumps, you couldn't slide a ream of printer paper under his feet. I don't even think you could slide a 2.5-inch binder up under his feet. He does not jump. Now, he doesn't jump because he had microfracture surgery. I don't jump because the good Lord didn't bless me with my jumps. But
Zebo got up in Boogie's face last week. Boogie wanted no parts. Yeah, did you see that?
I didn't see that.
Boogie wanted no parts, bro.
Wow.
Zebo got a bucket, and Boogie, I don't know, he didn't like the way DeMarcus fouled him or something like that, and he got it in DeMarcus' face, and DeMarcus was like, he wanted no parts. So that tell you something about a dude when DeMarcus Cousins wants no parts, because DeMarcus Cousins is mad at the world.
Right. That's crazy. Him linking up with Marc Gasol, obviously, like Ron said, Marc Gasol was Defensive Player of the Year last year. Zebo gets zero mention. Even on that Memphis team, he's not even considered the best player.
Yeah. Because
everybody's looking at Mark, they're looking at Mike Conley, they're even looking at Courtney Lee and Tony Allen over Zebo. But the fact that he's been a consistent about 17 and 8 now, before 20 and 10 guy, lefty, smooth jumper, great moves, great footwork for somebody that's that big and, that's had microfracture surgery, and now, he's kind of earthbound and things
tough
like
on
that.
Block, man.
He's very tough on that block. I think we've seen that in these last couple playoff series versus OKC, versus the Clippers,
versus the Spurs. They took the Spurs out.
Versus the Spurs when they got rid of the Spurs first round a couple years ago.
Yeah.
That Zach Randolph is a whole load down low, not to be messed with. And you do not want no problems with him. If you see him in a dark alley, just pull your wallet out, place it on the ground. It's like that. It's like that episode. It's like that scene in the episode of Better Call Saul when the big dude was laid out and he had the wallet. If you got your wallet out, you see Zebo laid out, just leave it there.
Right.
Just keep it moving.
Right. All right. Interesting list there.
All right, Ron.
Let's get to my list.
Show me what you got.
Most underrated players on my list. Number 3, big shocker here, Mike Dunleavy Jr.
Wow.
Mike Dunleavy Jr.
Huge shocker.
For those of you that don't know, I'm an accountant, a.k.a. a bean counter. Mike Dunleavy Jr. looks like he can work in the cube next to me and or be my boss.
1 bean, 2 bean, 3 bean.
What you would not know is the Chicago Bulls win about 80% of their games with him in their starting lineup. That's how important he is to them. He's obviously over a 40% free throw shooter. He shoots about 45% from the field, but for some reason, man, that guy's important to them. It seems like their winning percentage is higher with him than it is with Derrick Rose and Dunleavy out. Wow. So that just goes to show you how important Dunleavy is to them, because they have you got guys like Noah, Gasol, Gibson, Butler. These guys, they play hard, they work hard, but Dunleavy really spreads the floor for them and opens up a lot of options. So he comes in number 3 on my list.
Quick sidebar, since we're talking about Chicago Bulls. Derrick Rose's contract will be up, I believe, in 2 years. Do you resign it?
That's a tough one, man. If he wasn't from Chicago, that's an easy question. That's an easy answer. No, you don't. This guy's, you try to trade him, you call Sacramento or some of those teams, some of those irrational
Boston
teams. Yeah, exactly. Hey, I got this guy, blah, blah, blah. But with him being from Chicago, man, that's a touchy situation, man. That'd be like, it's not to this level, but it's close. That would be like the Cavs trying to trade LeBron, right? Because he's from the area.
In terms of local popularity, yeah.
That's specifically. I'm not talking about quality of play. I'm talking specifically about he's a Chicago guy on the Chicago team. If you trade him, that's tough, man. You gotta have some balls. Straight up.
I agree with you. But this is the same Chicago Bulls franchise, same owner actually, who broke up the squad after the '98 championship.
That's true.
Traded Pippen, didn't re-sign Mike, got rid of pretty much everybody, and totally revamped the lineup. And then 20 years later, or 10 years later, they draft Derrick Rose.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's a tough situation, but you gotta think at some point that they're ready to move on.
Yeah. So number 2 on my list, I got Jeff Teague. You can call me
Interesting.
You can call me a prisoner of the moment. Obviously, as you can see from the poster, we're Cavs fans here. We're from Cleveland, and they beat the Cavs tonight, man. And Jeff Teague, for whatever reason, to me, it seems like Jeff Teague kills the Cavs, man. It doesn't matter who's on him. Kyrie, Matthew Dellavedova.
Don't talk about my boy Deli like that.
It doesn't matter, man.
Don't hate on my boy Deli from down
Jeff
under.
Teague cooks the Cavs, man. I mean, the Hawks have the best record in the league right now. He's averaging 17 points and 7 assists. He's doing his thing, man. He's orchestrating the best offense, arguably the most effective offense in the league. He's tough, man. When people talk about the top 5 point guards in the league, you never hear his name, but
never. Not even top 5 in the East.
That guy gets it done, man. He definitely gets it done.
Absolutely. I mean, he cooked the Cavaliers tonight. There was a 2-play stretch where 2 times in a row, the Cavaliers set up in help side because all 4 of the Hawks were on the weak side of the floor, and they left Kyrie on an island. And Kyrie's defensive has improved, and he is quick enough to keep with Jeff Teague. Jeff Teague took 1 step to the right, crossed back over left, dipped his shoulder past Kyrie, and exploded to the rim for 2 straight layups.
Yeah.
The fact that he can explode to the rim and pull up, dangerous combo.
That guy's tough, man. So he's number 2 on my list. Number 1 on my list.
Numero uno, we got
Mike Conley.
Ooh,
Mike Conley's been steady, man. Mike Conley's been steady in Memphis for, I don't know, for many years.
Probably the last 3 or 4 seasons.
Memphis is a team that's always right there. If either they're knocking on the door or they're pushing somebody to the brink to get to that point. Personally, I think that this is the year they break through. I think that Memphis comes out of the West. But Mike Conley, man, he's averaging 16 points and 5 assists a game this year. He can get to the rack. He can finish with either hand. He's a great assist man. He knows, when to get his guys involved, when to get his guys the ball. He runs a show. He runs a show on the second best team in the West. So that's what I'm going with, man. I think that he's coming into his prime right now. He was arguably, a lot of people thought he should have been an all-star, obviously with the gauntlet that the West is. It would be hard to put him in, but he's right there, and I really think that he's the engine that makes him go, because if Conley's not in Memphis, I mean, who's running the show, right? Nick Calathis? Nick Calathis.
No, not that bald head scallywag.
I can't laugh at hairlines, but his might be a little worse than mine. You know what I'm saying? That's really saying something if your hairline's worse than mine. So that shows you how important Mike Conley is to that team.
Fun fact about Nick Calathis. Nick Calathis, when he was a freshman at Florida, took the point guard spot from Jay Lucas, son of John Lucas, former Cavaliers coach. I played 8th grade basketball with Jay Lucas, and John Lucas was at many of my games, telling me, "Well, you know what, Will? Well, you got to get the ball to you. Will, you got to be a great player one day. You got to make sure you pass the ball to my son. My son's very good." Little fun fact.
That's hilarious. That's a great story.
Nick Calathis' head has been jacked up since Florida days.
Nick, it's all right, man. It's not our fault, bro.
Do you realize that there is a very, very strong chance that we could see a Memphis versus Atlanta Hawks NBA Finals? Now, as far as the finals go,
yeah,
with the Super Bowl, Stanley Cup playoffs, World Series, things like that, pro sports always wants to get the casual fan involved. There has to be some sort of star power, some sort of drama, storyline surrounded by it. That could probably potentially be the most boring NBA Finals matchup ever. That would be a very low-rated Finals. And it's during the summer, too. Yeah. It's been cold as heck here. No, you better go watch the Finals game? Nah, bro, I'm gonna go turn up.
That's like if you were like rating chicks and you're like, all right, well this chick, she don't look that good, but she got a 3.5.
Right.
And you got this other chick on the side, you're like, well she don't look that good neither, but she got a 3.8. It's like, if you really are a fan of intelligence, like you will be into that. You know what I'm saying? So basically, like if you were a real fan of the NBA, you'd be like, bro, I'm watching these games. But if you like as Will said, if you're a casual fan, if you only here for the physical beauty, you know what I'm saying? If you only here for, you know what I'm saying, for whatever you like,
the star,
you know what
power,
I'm saying?
whatever player you think is
you like, I'm out, bro. I'm out. You know what I'm saying? Oh, Kim Kardashian not in this conversation? Oh, I'm out, bro. You know what I'm saying? Whatever that new hot chick. But what's the chick name that Drake's messing with? Bernice.
Bernice.
Here. I'm out, bro.
Whose southern granddaughter is that?
Terrible name.
Hey, words.
I didn't even know how to spell that.
Word to my homie Jalen Rose. Not gonna be able to do it.
Not gonna be able to do it.
Not gonna be able to do it.
So, yeah, man, as Will said, man, if you get Memphis versus Atlanta, man, a lot of people not gonna be into it, but I was always a fan of the mind, so I'll be tuning in. So yeah,
people gonna be calling for Adam Silver's head. How could he let this happen?
How dare you not have an LA team or?
So do we have any extra time?
Sure, we do.
Okay, so one thing I wanted to talk about since I was here, replacing my fellow dark-skinned brother Gabe, was to talk about the vast majority of injuries that have happened this year. I'm not going to say that this has been the most injuries ever because that's ridiculous, but the number of significant injuries that have occurred to star players. LeBron James sitting out 2 weeks with the knee and back. LeBron had never been hurt, ever. I think the most significant LeBron James injury was when he got sick, when he got the upper respiratory infection, and he had to sit, and then, when Dikembe Mutombo hit him with the people's elbow on the side of the head. So LeBron James sitting. Kevin Durant sitting probably 3 times this year. Had the foot, the ankle, the toe, and now it's the foot again. Russell Westbrook with the hand, and now recently the face, yes. The dent in the side of the face. It almost looked like when you were a kid and you were throwing like tennis balls off the side of the garage,
right.
And you fire one too hard, your garage is aluminum siding, and there's a dent there. That's what his face looked like. Derrick Rose with the meniscus, Blake Griffin.
Yeah.
Kyrie was out for a little bit.
Yeah.
DeMar DeRozan was out for a minute with the torn tendon in the thigh. DeMarcus Cousins with the viral infection. LaMarcus Aldridge with the thumb, but is able to stay in. Was supposed to have season-ending surgery. I mean, it's just been crazy. Dwight Howard is out with the knee. James Harden sat a little bit with the shoulder and the ankle. Anthony Davis with the shoulder. I mean, I can keep going on and on forever. Obviously, Kobe Bean Bryant with the torn rotator cuff, which was bound to happen because he's an old, dusty man. But I just want to know your thoughts. We can go back and forth on this. What is the cause of all of these injuries?
I've heard a lot of theories, right? Some people think that guys are just going harder, right? Like guys from different eras didn't play defense and offense as vigorously on a possession by possession basis. Therefore, guys are more prone to injuries now, right? That's like saying if you work 12 hours a day for 5 days a week and 6 days a week, right? You're going to get burnt out.
Right.
The odds of you getting burnt out are much higher if you're doing those number of hours. So I don't know, man. I think that that argument kind of makes sense to me because your body can only take so much,
right.
And other than that, I can't. It's not like, I mean, the training we have is better than ever. The information we have is better than ever. So I don't want to fault that. It's just got to be like a body can only take so much, man. So I kind of think that's guys are pushing it further than they ever have been. and that's kind of responsible for the injuries that we're seeing today.
I agree with you on that fact that guys are really pushing their bodies to the limit longer and harder than we've ever seen. So I got two theories here. So one is the over-workout theory. And you're seeing a lot of injuries that are based on putting your body through tons of amounts of stress and not getting adequate rest. Yeah. So there's been 3 significant Achilles tendon injuries. We had Wes Matthews last night, Brandon Jennings, and also Anderson Varejao from the Cleveland Cavaliers. What I know from my exercise science buddies, shout out to the exercise science program in Miami. The Achilles tendon tears because of the stress that you're putting on your body. Okay. So guys are out there, they're doing all kind of different exercises and all sort of different types of terrain. They're putting on muscle, they're taking off muscle, they're putting on lean muscle, they're packing on bulk, things of that nature. You also have to consider that a lot of these guys have been hurt previously. Wes Matthews at the knee, Anderson Varejao with the litany of injuries he's had. Brandon Jennings had ankle injury and also has had some knee issues. These are guys that rely on their quickness, on their agility, and when you get hurt, you put on weight. The meds they give you, you put on weight. But just by sitting around, you put on weight. So then you're trying to get back to what you're used to doing. That's what we see in Derrick Rose's case. Now I'm trying to get back to what I'm used to doing instead of modifying my game to kind of compensate for how I got hurt. So that's my first injury. That's my first theory. My second theory is that it's just guys out there just playing incredibly too hard for their own good. Anderson Varejao, prime example. Derrick Rose, Russell Westbrook, cats that take, even Kobe Bryant, cats that take so much punishment going to the lane. You just think about bigs in general. Guys smacking on smacking your arms down as you're going up, putting stress on your elbow joints, on your shoulders, biceps, all the stress that goes on your knees. Dwight Howard clocked in at like 285 at one point during his time in Orlando. 285 for a cat that used to weigh 240 in high school and shot threes and we talked about him as being the next coming of KG.
That's crazy.
So you think about you just think about how hard he has to go in the paint. Word to Walk Flock Flame. And how much stress is being put on that body. It almost was inevitable that Dwight Howard was going to have some sort of knee injury. Yeah. It's almost inevitable that Russell Wilson is going to have some sort of knee or hand injury just by the way that he plays. He plays so violently. Yeah. I mean, you saw the Vine video and him speeding up, taking off. Like, you think of how much force you have to come back to earth with on hardwood? Yeah. I definitely agree with that, man. So, yeah. All right, guys. You got anything else? I ain't got nothing else. Oh, most important thing that we forgot. Gotta give a shout out to our homeboy Ryan Rosenthal.
You gotta get on the pod, bruh.
Need you on the pod. Shout out to my homie Rose.
Yeah, so thank you guys for joining us. This was another, like we said earlier, another episode of Gabriel's Take, filling in. For Gabe, we got my bro Will. Give the people your Twitter and Instagram, bro.
You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat at Mr.6Sixer. That's MISTER.
Finally got rid of Gabe and his retarded underscores.
What does it need? Was Mr. underscore Hemingway already taken?
It must have been, because only a cornball brother would have Mr. underscore.
Allow me to hang up another L on the light skin side of the board there. On the dark skin side of the board there.
So yeah, man, thank you guys for joining us. Please, if you got any disagreements or you want to, let us know what you think about what the things that we talk about today. If you want to get your opinion out there, comment or whatever, and like and subscribe to the channel. All right, peace.